Hello everybody, this is Rebecca Jane from StitchSlowly.com. Welcome to this very exciting project. I am going to be showing you from start to finish how to create a slow stitch design, and by using wattle and loop, which is one of my favorite kits that I've used, that I think I've made about, I'm guessing by now, probably 8 or 9. And it was a way to learn how to actually create these designs. So as you could see, I'm taking my glue stick and I'm starting to glue the pieces down. And I have this, so I'm going to play with it. Now more often than not I have to take it all up, or take some of it up. It doesn't look good, doesn't sit well, or it looks unnatural, very, not unnatural, but it doesn't look like it fits. Then I either cut it while it's on there, and then I found this fabric that didn't actually come with this particular kit, but I had it from another one, and which is really nice because then I just keep all my scraps from all my other kits, and I put them in little baggies with the colors. So I have all my greens in one baggie. So if I can't find something I particularly like, or I'd rather try something else. This one's a little bit brighter. As you can see, that's a brighter color. I just happen to have one. So you can see here. And then I'm going to add, because this is just one leaf, which can take a while. And you might even leave it and come back the next day and then decide to do something completely different. And I like to take it and fray it. So often I'll use a needle, large needle, or a scissor, or anything that, maybe your finger. That's enough. So you can start to see, and then you can see I'm not 100% with this one. I'm going to just cut it down. Yeah, it's starting to come. And then because I'm going to cover this, and you could see what they did was they put an extra bit of the leaf, the base leaf, the color that they use for that leaf itself. And I thought, oh, that sounds good, so I'll do that. If you're finding this video useful, please do subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. It's not your design. But it's actually this takes quite a lot of work and creativity on your end, and precision, so that you can have the kit, which is helpful, but which makes it even feel like it's your own. That's what I like about these kits, is you don't feel like you're just following it's more of a little bit of a guide, helpful guide, which sometimes we need. So you can see how so what I'm going to do is bring this up a little higher. I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to and then there's a piece here and a piece there. So I kind of like how that looks. And so the leaves in a lot of wattle and loops are layered, and you get better and better at it after a while. It gets easier and easier. You're less afraid, in other words, of making so-called mistake, because as you'll learn, there's no such thing as a mistake. And you'll see how this starts to look. It's just, and then I see that color there, so I'm looking at how much. I don't have a lot of this left, so I have to be so careful, because I can see it's been placed in many of the other places. So I want to have a little bit more, because I really do like this vibrant green pattern. So I'll just take not too much of it, make sure I have enough. And I even save the little tiny, tiny weeny pieces. You think you throw it out. I mean, not if they're too tiny, obviously. But just so I have them to add. And then what we do, I'll show you once we've layered, once that's all completed, how to then sew them down. So obviously they stay because this is only glued down temporarily. So let's say this goes here. And then I'll glue that down. I'm going to still play with it first before I finish this one. I'm not quite done. And then we'll work on the other leaves, and then you can fray them, and then I'll show you how to add the lace, which they also provide for some of the petals. So there we go. So I just wanted to show you how far I've come with the stitching. I'm not quite finished, but getting very close. So I've stitched the flowers and also many of the leaves. I'm still working on those. And then the next time you see this, I'll show you how to make the centers with the French knots. So here we are. I wanted to show you how to sew the layers together. The leaves are going to have different types of stitches as well as the petals. You really only need there's 3 stitches. The one is the straight stitch, and then there's the runner stitch. So this is the straight stitch, and this is the runner stitch. And then of course the French knots. So I'll show you a straight stitch. And what I like about, what I really enjoy is just you can use all different kinds of threads. And usually for some of the petals I've used 2 strands. And for layering the leaves, you can use up 2 to 1 strand, depending on how you like the look. You might play with it. Just make sure you have enough thread, which most likely you will. So what I'm doing here is you take the layers, which are just start off, being glued to one another, and you put a few stitches in, and then they're there. They'll be stuck, so I pulled it out. So that's a straight stitch. So you go in, up, and over, so that's straight. And the runner stitch, I'll take you through the runner stitch. I'll just use the same color. But many of the petals, I tend to use running stitches. So you'll have the colors of, you could see the running stitches here pretty much throughout. And so I'll show you a running stitch. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to come up, just in case you don't know what a running stitch is. You might not have a problem. You might know it without having to watch me. But it's basically going underneath through and then gathering up the material multiple times and then pulling through. And that's the runner stitch. And then you just kind of flatten it out. I'll just finish that off. So as you can see, most of these have been finished. I just wanted to show you what it looks like, how to sew it, but also what it looks like when you're finished. So, and I have some of the French knots in there already. So there we are. 3 stitches, the runners, and then the straight stitch. And then we have the French knots. So I'm getting close. Look how beautiful. I am surprised at how much I love this picture. I wasn't sure. I wasn't 100% sure because of these are not my favorite colors. I'm much more into more not mustardy colors. I'm not a huge yellow fan, but this is just beautiful. And it's really taught me how to also take the stitching beyond the flower itself or beyond the leaves, and you could see how I drew with my my water soluble pen. And when I'm finished, I like to soak it in a very, in water for just a short moment, not too long, so that I can get rid of that, the blue. But it's almost there. So here we are. We're almost there, almost finished. It's this bittersweet moment where this has been great fun, but it's also very exciting. So I finished, I put the French knots in the center here. So there's 3 different colored threads. They all have 6 strands each that they provided. And I divided them in half, so they're three each for the French knots, see? So I took 3 of the threads, threaded them, and I'm going to make a few more. So I'm working on the second sunflower middle, or the center of that sunflower, and I'm going to just show you just briefly how to do this. So you take, if this is your first time doing French knots, you can choose how many times you wrap it, but I'm wrapping around 3 because they're quite thick. And then you wrap it 3 times and you pull gently on the thread, and then you pull the needle from behind, and there you go, and you have a French knot. I do have a 1-minute video on how to make a French knot, so feel free to look at that if you need it. You can see now that I've placed the very light, kind of rusty, light brown into this flower. I've used up that thread. So you might decide that you want to only divide them, since there's 6 threads per embroidery thread that they provide, you might want to only divide it to 2 per. So you have extras. They'll be a little smaller, the knots, but you'll have more. So, or the other thing you can do is you could mix and match. You can take the darker brown and mix it with the lighter, or there's the medium brown, and do mix and match, so that with the thread, so you'll take 1 thread and then of one and then another of the other and place it on the needle, and you make knots that way. So feel free to kind of play with it to make it yours. Also what I'm going to do, and I'm going to, as you can see here, there's multiple colors thrown in, scattered around, to make it look more like if you see a sunflower, the center of a sunflower, there's different variety of color and shades of the browns. And what I found I need to do also, which I did here, is I took one of the colors, I hope I have enough now, to just sew around the center, around the edges of the center, so that it doesn't come up. So just to adhere it to the cloth, to the background. And the next time you see me, then I'll probably sew this down too. And once I've kind of looked and everything's sewn down, I'm comfortable with it, I will show you how to remove the blue marker, the water-soluble marker, with a spray bottle. And the spray bottle has filtered water, so I'll just emphasize that. The final part of this will be how I decided to showcase my sunflower. Okay, so I am almost completely done with my sewing. Once I take the marker off, I can then just go around and make sure everything's adhered to, or fixed to the background. So what I'm going to do is I have a water bottle an indoor sprayer for my plants, but the water in it is not from the tap. It really depends. Your water might be just fine. I had very hard water, so I just use my filtered water. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to spray, and I have my towel underneath. And you're going to just spray. It helps me wash my desk up as well. I'll have to wipe it down. Let me move this out of the way. Actually, just keep it. So you're just spraying. You can soak it. Not a huge deal. I think, I'm testing whether the dye comes off the material. I'll be the tester, as you'll probably, but I think everything looks fine. And of course, you'll see some blue from the glue. That will completely disappear. So don't worry as it dries. So just take a look, make sure. So if you see some of the blue, don't worry about it underneath the. So I have some blue here, so I'm going to go around, just make sure, because I don't want to have to wet it down again. But you could then do some, you don't have to do the entire. You don't have to do the entire piece. So there we are. All done, not all done. It's going to have to dry. So I will come back and I'll show you it dried and all finished, because I still have to just go around and make sure everything's finished and complete and I'm happy, satisfied. And then I'll show you how I'm going to showcase it. Yes, nothing more left to do with the actual sunflower itself. Now the next step will be, how do you display it? My choice for this one is I'm designing a quilt, a slow stitch quilt with all my wattle and loop designs, because I have only so much space on my wall for frames, or else I would probably frame every single one of them. Who knows? See what happens. So I'll show you what I'm not going to do it. I'm going to show you briefly. This is going to be in another video. I found some of this gorgeous batik fabric, and I started putting some of my designs here, right? They're going to be sliced up so that they're framed in these colors. I'll show you. I also had found also shows the green, so you could see this is a green version of the same fabric. And do you see? I know. You're thinking, is she a mad woman? Yes. My husband would definitely agree with that. I don't think he knows of how many, and I have one more here. Okay? And what I'm planning to do, and this could change as I design. This sunflower works perfectly with this batik. Maybe this was meant for this sunflower design. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them out and frame them, and then I'm going to have a plain fabric for the background. But that's all for another time. I just thought, let's kind of finish up the sunflower. You can do many things with it. If you have any questions, please comment below. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Thank you so much. Happy stitching.